Have y'all seen this video going around the internet of this man that looks like Kanye West? Now, before I start, this is not false information. This is just opinions, okay? But this guy looks just like Kanye West. The man who took the video was trying to talk to him and he was just completely zoned out, was not moving at all. This man looks more like Kanye West than Kanye West looks like Kanye West anymore. This is Kanye now compared to this guy. And man, he said if he ever disappears, whoever came back wasn't him.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest or creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the Seekers, man, who's watching the videos entirely. Comment down below. Really appreciate the support. Find this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's shoot the truth.
This is by far the worst love triangle story I've ever heard of. In September of 2020, 31-year-old Armando Barone murdered his wife's co-worker when he found out that she was having an affair with him. 25-year-old Jonathan Emerald and 33-year-old Brittany Barone were together at a biomedical device company in New Hampshire. But on this specific day, Armando went through Brittany's phone and lost it when he discovered text messages between Brittany and Jonathan. He beat Brittany so bad that she passed out, but it doesn't end there, and let me warn you, it gets really disturbing. That night, after Armando threatened to take Brittany's life, he took her phone and texted Jonathan pretending to be her. He then lured Jonathan to a park where he shot him 3 times and then drove 200 miles to a campsite where he forced Brittany to decapitate his body. Armando ordered Brittany to bury Jonathan's head in the dirt and told her that once the sun came up the next morning, he would forgive her. He then left Brittany in the wooded area so that she can get rid of evidence, and 2 days later, officers found Brittany at the campsite, and that's when she confessed that something had happened. Brittany was sentenced to 3.5 to 7 years in prison on 3 counts of falsifying evidence, but she has been released. And Armando was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Yet another
crazy,
CEO
bro.
has just made a fatal mistake. So on Thursday night, a very famous Polish tennis player was signing autographs for fans and attempted to give his cap to a young boy in the crowd. That's when a fully grown man snatches it, to the disbelief of the boy, and then hides it in his partner's bag. And boy, was that a mistake. Because as soon as this clip went viral, the internet didn't just identify the man and then absolutely scorch him online, but they also found that he is a CEO of a paving business, and then they started raining down hellfire in the form of bad reviews. Now, the Polish CEO has since deactivated all of his social media accounts, and according to the tennis player, Camille, the CEO has since attempted to apologize to the boy and his family. And this all actually has a pretty happy ending, because instead of just getting the hat, Camille went out of his way to find the boy and then give him a replacement and even more gifts. So, for any CEOs watching, lay low. This is not your time.
Okay, this one might give you a nightmare. In July of 2014, a teenager named Ashik, who was living in this small town in India, reached up and he felt his very swollen and sore jaw. Now, this had been going on for a year, but his family didn't have the money for him to go to the dentist. But today, the pain was unbearable, and so he told his dad, "We gotta go." When they got to the dentist office, the dentist looked inside of Ashik's mouth and they saw something strange, and so they got out a pick and a hammer, and they hammered that pick into Ashik's jawline. And at some point, the dentist kind of cracked through something, and when they did, the dentist was very surprised. They reached in and pulled something out, and then they just kept on digging away into Ashik's jawline. Finally, after like 7 hours, the dentist stopped, and they were able to tell Ashik what was going on. Well, Ashik had a tumor in the right side of his jaw that caused his body to grow too many teeth. In total, the dentist removed 232 extra teeth, a world record.
The fact that there are people on Earth that don't know that any other people exist on Earth but themselves because they've been living on a secluded island for over 60,000 years blows my mind. It's estimated that these people have lived on this island for upwards of 60,000 years, and the population ranges anywhere from 15 to 400 people. We just don't know exactly how many people live there. They're extremely hostile, they're violent, they don't want any contact with other people, and if they actually did have contact with other people like explorers or anthropologists, it could be deadly for their entire community on the island. Something as little as the common cold could wipe out their entire population. The island falls between India and Thailand, but India kind of like calls the shots for them, so they they've made it illegal for people to go and visit them. As we know, that's not going to stop people from wanting to go and explore.
A YouTuber has been arrested and sent to judicial custody for illegally entering the northern Sentinel Islands.
This guy thought it was a good idea to bring a coconut and a Diet Coke as a peace offering to the Sentinelese people. Which is crazy because John Allen went to the island in 2018 trying to spread Christianity to the Sentinelese people, and they took his ass out. He was never seen again. Given the risks on both sides, like, what are we doing this for? It's kind of like Michael Rockefeller in 1961 went to go meet with this cannibalistic tribe in Papua New Guinea, and he was never seen again either.
Why do people want to keep messing with that tribe? We've seen so many clips, man, but people keep trying to go back and go back. And never anywhere else for them, man. Stay away from the North Sentinel Island.
Children who went missing at Disneyland in California. Hello, I am one of those missing children. We all disappeared in restroom number 4. On my 6th birthday, my mom and I were visiting Disneyland in California. After we explored Fantasyland, I went to the restroom. My mom waited outside for 10 minutes, but I didn't come out. She decided to check on me and witnessed a terrifying scene. She saw a man leading me into restroom number 4. She rushed over, but when she opened the door, both the man and I had mysteriously vanished. My mom called the police, but they didn't believe her because restroom number 4 is a sealed space with no hidden doors. However, the Disney staff looked scared, as if they knew some secrets. Every so often, we reappear in restroom number 4, not to frighten people, but to warn children to stay away. Do you know any other secrets hidden here? Feel free to share them in the comments.
Stay away from restroom 4 in Disney World or Disneyland, bro. Some weird things be going down in that park, bro, that can't be explained.
Disturbing facts that may ruin your day. Your brain blocks out the feeling of your organs moving around inside of your body at all times. After giving birth, some women can feel their organs sliding back into place as their uterus shrinks. Human babies are helpless at birth compared to other animals because our brains grow so big. We evolved to give birth earlier in our development so that we don't severely hurt the mother while coming out of the birth canal. Your nose is always in your line of sight. Your brain just chooses to ignore it. You could look at any object and your tongue already knows what it feels like to lick it. You could have 2/3 of your liver removed and it would regenerate itself. If your immune system found out that you had eyes, it would attack them and you would go blind. No matter how hard you strain, you're only using about 60% of your full strength. If your brain didn't stop you, you could tear your muscles and break your bones just trying to throw a ball as hard as you can. When you hear about mothers lifting cars, this is thought to be the fight or flight adrenaline temporarily overriding that limit. If you have surgery and they have to take out your intestines, they put them in a bowl next to them while they work. Your intestines wiggle around in the bowl like snakes the whole time.
Whatever you do, do not look into her eyes.
We're gonna do it anyway, Secrets. No change, we cool. Starting to slowly open up. Yeah, man, she give me some Joker eyes, bro. I don't like this feeling. Oh yeah, we out. She looking at you like that. Something about to go down. It's like the Smile movie, bro. That's the vibes I'm getting.
Here are some wild facts that I bet you didn't learn in history class. The first known photograph of a person was taken in 1838. It only happened because a man and his shoe shiner were the only people still enough on a busy street to show up in the 10-minute exposure. In 1937, 2 women wore shorts out in public for the first time. They drew a massive amount of male attention and even caused a car accident. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest building in the world for nearly 4,000 years until the Lincoln Cathedral was built in 1311. When trains were first introduced in the US, women were afraid to ride in them. This is because many people believed that women's bodies were not designed to go 50 miles an hour, and that their uteruses would fly out of their bodies if they were accelerated to that speed.
Scary things you didn't know. The last one is crazy. If you see a kangaroo in the water, run away, because kangaroos have a dark side. They'll patiently wait for you in the water in order to drown you.
Look at my dog.
Oh, what the? Oh, you saw the way he was holding onto his dog?
Supposedly, you can see if an app is spying on you by clicking the share button, clicking more, and if you see an app that you don't recognize before your contacts, delete it immediately. In 1988, Mark Wahlberg was arrested for a racist attack on 2 Vietnamese Americans, and it left one victim blind. Mark was then charged with attempted murder, but only ended up serving 45 days because he was 16. This is supposedly where you'll be in 5 years. Comment below what your month says about you. Before we get to the last scary thing, support my page by hitting the follow button for more interesting content every day. Submarines have heard and recorded unknown sounds in the ocean. This is one of them in the Mariana Trench.
It's like a little sonar sound.
Yeah, comment below what you think that was.
You won't believe what this man was caught doing with a corpse. 46-year-old Randall Bird was caught doing inappropriate things to a corpse while he was working his shift as a security guard at the Banner University Medical Center in Phoenix. Randall's job was to bring deceased bodies to the hospital's morgue and slip them into the freezer. But during his shift, co-workers walked in on him and caught Randall inside the freezer with his zipper down, his uniform looking messy, and a body bag open. He was seen almost on top of the 79-year-old deceased woman, and when the workers walked in, he quickly tried to cover the body. The workers said that Randall looked so sweaty and nervous when they caught him, and his excuse was that he had a medical emergency and he almost passed out. His co-workers did not believe a single word and reported the incident. When Randall was interviewed by police a few days later, he basically just said the same story and said that he couldn't remember much of what happened. But not long after, investigators found his DNA on the woman's body, which proves that Randall was in fact doing what we all assumed. He was arrested and now faces multiple charges.
This is the scary truth about iPhones. iPhones actually listen to everything that you say, and it's pretty creepy. This is why if you're ever talking about something with your friends, then suddenly whatever you were talking about comes up on your timeline hours later, well, that's because your iPhone is listening to you. Next, your iPhone tracks you everywhere you go. This is how the iPhone knows how long it takes to get to places from where you are. If you want proof, go to your settings and then hit privacy, then click location services at the top, and it will most likely say on. It's pretty creepy that they can hear and track everything we do, and I mean everything, because who doesn't have their phone on them nowadays?
You gotta unplug, bro. As simple as that. You know too much about movements, man. The phones, bro. Have too much info on us. In fact, they track and we can hear what we be saying.
Now this is inside a US lab where 200 frozen people are waiting to be brought back to life. Alcor Life Extension Foundation was founded in 1972 and describes itself as the world leader in cryonics. And if you have no bloody idea what that means, cryonics is basically the process of freezing someone after they've died to halt the decomposing process, with the belief that technology could advance to the point where we could at some point bring them back to life. Now the lab freezes the bodies, or just the heads, of the clinically dead at minus 196 degrees Celsius using liquid nitrogen and then stores them in these giant vessels. A full body cryonic preservation currently costs around $220,000. Or to freeze just your head, it will cost you about $80,000. So the question is, if this was possible, would you want to suddenly wake up 40 years in the future?
I don't think so.
One night, it's 2 a.m. in Chicago, and there's this actor. His name is Jussie Smollett. And Jussie, he doesn't have any food in the apartment, so he goes out to a place nearby to pick up a sandwich. Once he gets it, he leaves the place and he's walking back to the apartment. And allegedly, he hears a couple of guys yelling slurs at him. And he turns around like, "What did you just say to me?" And there's two guys there. And boom, they jump him and they beat him up. And they put a rope around his neck. And then they run away. So someone on his team reports this to police, and police investigate, and charges end up being filed against Jussie for allegedly faking the whole attack. Then later those charges get dropped, then Jussie gets charged again by a special prosecutor, and he eventually gets convicted. Now, people are widely divided on what really happened that night. However, there were witnesses. What about them? They also caught some potential suspects on a security camera. What about those guys? All of these questions and more are explored in the new documentary, The Truth About Jussie Smollett, which is now playing on Netflix. And you're just gonna have to watch for yourself to find out what really happened.
I heard that documentary was crazy, man. I remember when that news first dropped, and then I heard that they said it was all fake and it was staged. I was so confused. I'm like, what the heck is going on, bro?
The seal has shattered. The curse awakens. Where does the power of giants come from? Is it from the abyss or from evil? The angry soul roars in the giant stone. The flames of revenge ignite the darkness. Hope shines in despair. The shadow of giants looms over the earth. Uluk is resisting. Destiny is in one's own hands. The secret of Aeternum's angel is about to be revealed. The giant will ultimately face judgment.
Imagine that being real.
Our mothers threw us into an Idaho lake, and now we haunt the waters. Hello, my name is Urban, one of the Idaho water babies.
Y'all have gotta stop tagging me in this shit at 1 in the morning, okay? I am 2 glasses of wine deep. I need to go to bed. But you know I love being your spooky TikTok lady. So let's talk about the water babies of Massacre Rock. The water babies are from an urban legend that comes from Pocatello, Idaho. It's said that when a Native American tribe inhabited the area we now call Massacre Rocks, that there was a terrible famine. There were too many mouths to feed and not enough food to go around, and some mothers decided they didn't want their babies to starve. They thought it would be kinder to take them to Snake River and drown them. It's important to note that as far as I understand it, there's no historical backing to the story. I don't think this is based off of any true events, but that's how the story goes. Now it's said that if you visit Massacre Rock, you can hear the water babies still crying from the river. Some people have even claimed to see the water babies just lurking in the darkness, illuminated by the moonlight. There's this one story that floats around with this urban legend that says this girl and her boyfriend were going camping, and while the girlfriend was at the tent alone, she heard these strange whistling noises. And when her boyfriend came back, she was like, "I heard these whistling sounds. I really don't think we're alone out here."
Because her husband was battling brain cancer and she didn't know how they were going to survive without him, it could be money, it could be the stress of her husband's brain cancer, or it could just be a psychotic break. Let's not even act like she spared that toddler, okay? That toddler was in the house alone for 12 hours. They could have easily gotten into something that could have killed them. So in her TikTok, she talked a lot about like grieving her marriage and still being in it and becoming a single mother and living off of one income. And she was acting like she had no family. Y'all, she had an entire support system behind her. And that 3-year-old that she spared, yeah, that child was handed over to family right away. She also said things like, "Oh, I know I need help. I hope I get it before it's too late." So the police don't want anybody speculating, but what they have released is, besides her husband's brain cancer diagnosis and the stress that it took on their marriage, there was also a lot of financial problems. And it wasn't just her becoming a single mom and being on one income. They are alluding to something much bigger. And regardless of why she did it, I want to make this very clear. Just because she was suffering, that did not give her the right to annihilate her entire family. She selfishly took the lives of her family members, and she left her one surviving child to grieve for the rest of their life.
Have y'all seen this video going around the internet of this man that looks like Kanye West? Now, before I start, this is not false information. This is just opinions, okay? But this guy looks just like Kanye West. The man who took the video was trying to talk to him, and he was just completely zoned out, was not moving at all. This man looks more like Kanye West than Kanye West looks like Kanye West anymore. This is Kanye now compared to this guy. And man, he said if he ever disappears, whoever came back wasn't him. That's Kanye from back in the day. Look how much this man looks like him. What's really weirding me out is the haircut, because he looks like he's been lobotomized. I mean, is that Kanye? That looks so much like old Kanye. That is just weird. It's uncanny, for real. It's crazy. And I'm telling y'all, look at this. Here's a before and after picture of a woman after she had a lobotomy down here. It's pretty weird. What do you guys think?
That would look like a smooth clone, bro. Wasn't moving, saying, doing anything. I don't know if that was AI on the face or something like that. That's what it kind of looked like too.
What you're seeing behind me is a real picture. This is Evan Byers, and let's talk about how he lost his entire lower half of his jaw. He was a pro golfer in the early 1900s. In 1927, he hurt his arm pretty badly, so the doctor suggested Radithor. Radithor is radium in water. This is essentially radioactive water that was prescribed for him. And now obviously around this time, nobody really knew the effects of radiation like that. Evan Byers would take a lot of doses per day. He even got up to 1,400 doses in one day. As you would imagine, this dude got cancer like it was his job. I mean, obviously radioactive water is gonna give you cancer. He lost weight, experienced a lot more headaches, and his teeth started to fall out. The Federal Trade Commission asked to testify about his experience, but he was too weak and tired to even make the journey. So they sent a representative to his home, and they found something terrifying. His upper and lower jaw were almost completely gone, and he had about 1.5 teeth left. He was also forming holes all over his head. His body was literally disintegrating. In 1932, he officially passed away, and they dubbed the cause of death radiation poisoning. They didn't know at the time, but it would be actually due to a bunch of acute cancers that he developed. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below and what you want to see next.
This entire documentary made me so sick. She was really sitting there comparing what she did to drunk driving. Like, most people don't wake up and say, I'm gonna drive drunk today, and then do it every single day for 18 months. Like, her actions were intentional. She chose to do that. None of this even had to happen. Their whole family could have continued living a happy, normal life. I feel like throughout the documentary, she had no remorse for what she did. Like, they gave her a platform to speak on it, and she kept making excuses. And then there's the love bombing in prison. Like, those texts are so disturbing. It's like she's in love with her. They were talking every single day. Why is that okay? Why did they let them talk every single day? And then she almost felt guilty for what was going on. Like, she has been so manipulated. It has become clear to me that Kendra has no real remorse for the situation, and she hasn't genuinely learned from her actions. Like, the fact that she is now free in society and able to just have full communication with her daughter is just disgusting and horrifying. And then all of the adult messages that she was sending were treated like a little afterthought. She was sending these 14-year-olds really graphic things, especially anonymously saying what she wanted to do to him, and like talking about their relationship and how she would never get to do XYZ, but
but the sender would. Like, ew. Why were there not specific charges related to that? I feel like they only like briefly touched on that. Even Owen's mother was like, she was definitely into my son. And the fact that Kendra would like individually text Owen and try to have a relationship one-on-one with Owen and almost like flirt and tease with him. And then she started bringing up her traumas. It's like, why are we platforming this woman to humanize her in any way? Like, I don't have sympathy for her. How could you do that to your child? And then it brings up the question, how would they have reacted to this if she was a man? Because I think the entire situation of her still being able to contact her daughter and go to jail just for a small period of time, I think it all would have been handled very differently if she was a man. If this was the father, things would have been very different. But there is no question in my mind that she was fixated on Owen way beyond her daughter. Lauren's sitting here emphasizing with her mother after she ruined her high school experience. They had to move multiple times. She lost her boyfriend. She was crying every day, receiving death threats, being told things about her body. I could keep going, but I want to keep it appropriate. Just like when they were arresting Kendra, why did they not immediately separate the daughter, the victim, from the abuser? They were letting her like caress poor Kendra in the cop videos. And then the mom goes to prison and is love bombing her the entire time. This woman belongs in jail for life and Lauren belongs in therapy. She needs to be like deprogrammed. Follow for more true crime. This is Unknown Number, the high school catfish, by the way.
Your child is missing, but you keep changing your story. Honestly, it was bad enough with the baby Emmanuel stuff, but this case is eerily similar. It was the 6th of August in Kentucky when a panicked call came into police. The woman on the end of the line was Felicia Gross, who rang up to basically say that her 10-year-old son was missing. This was Jaden Spicer. Jaden was such a bright, energetic little boy. He went to Highland Turner Elementary School and was really looking forward to starting the 4th grade. He was a huge Spider-Man fan, and in his spare time he absolutely loved going on his trampoline and playing video games like Fortnite. He had this super adventurous, playful nature. But like I said, he was reported missing, which was incredibly worrying. Now, Felicia, the mum, initially seemed very concerned, hence ringing police, obviously. And her husband, Joshua, who was Jaden's stepdad, both said that they had no idea where he was. The mum at first was acting super distressed, and I say acting, she was making emotional public pleas. At one point she said, "We want him safe at home, please. If anybody see my son, Jaden Spicer, please report it to the police." So police were obviously using all their resources hunting high and low for this missing child, but they wouldn't even have to wait a week for a horrific discovery. Just 6 days after being reported missing, there was devastating news. In a local area, little Jaden's body was discovered in a shallow grave. He'd been buried in a plastic bag in the woods. Now, obviously, with nobody else to really turn to, nobody else to question, the police started questioning the family. They brought the mum in for questioning, and she honestly could not keep her story straight. She suddenly decided to tell investigators that, oh, actually, before he went missing, I did give him some sleeping tablets, which was really, really worrying and just was like red flag immediately. And when police spoke to other family members, including Jaden's own siblings, it became really obvious to them that they had been told to lie. They'd been almost like coached on what to say. Nothing was making sense, and obviously this was incredibly suspicious. Then Felicia finally admitted that the sleeping tablet she had given to Jaden caused a medical emergency that then caused him to die, and she then hid his body. Now, honestly, sadly, the only person who probably is willing to completely tell the truth and knows exactly what happened is Jaden, and he is no longer with us. The mum was initially charged with manslaughter, abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and false reporting, but a grand jury did upgrade her charge to murder. Who even really knows what happened, to be honest, but the stepdad is now also charged with a bunch of charges: murder, false reporting, evidence tampering, along with a bunch of other things.
Creepy facts about our world. The Devil's Bible exists, and is said to be a contract between a 13th century monk and Satan. Also known as the Codex Gigas, it's the largest Latin manuscript known to the world, and contains a full-page portrait of Satan. Ancient Romans believed that drinking blood would let them absorb power. During gladiator games at the Colosseum, members of the audience would rush into the field to ravage the blood off of fallen gladiators. The Museum of the Souls of Purgatory in Rome, Italy, displays documents signed by haunted souls in purgatory. The small museum displays several documents and photos with handprints that they claim to be from the dead or souls stuck in purgatory. Your bed might have up to 10 million dust mites in it right now. Dust mites love warm beddings and skin cells, which makes your bed an ideal home for them. They're microscopic and multiply by the tens of thousands.
This is unbelievable. Chinese scientists have successfully used stem cell technology to grow deer antlers on mice, resulting in a major breakthrough that could one day see humans regrow lost limbs. The researchers were able to identify and extract these cells responsible for the rapid growth of antlers on deer, and then transplant these cells onto the foreheads of the mice. And just 45 days later, these mice started growing small stumps that actually contained cartilage and bone. The team hopes that this procedure could one day help repair bones or cartilage in humans, or potentially even grow back lost limbs. The question is this exciting or just weird?
I think I'm gonna have to go with weird, man. Because once you start freaking crossbreeding, bro, that can open up a whole can of worms that wasn't intended, man. People can use it for different purposes, and we can go down a very dark slope. So I don't know how people gonna feel about that one, bro. Crossbreeding, cross genetics.
The past couple of years, we've been seeing more and more of these cases of mothers throwing their newborn babies in the garbage. You've probably heard of this case in 2023 when 19-year-old Alexia Treviso gave birth to her baby in a hospital bathroom, which then she threw her baby in the trash can and her baby did not survive. Another 19-year-old in New Mexico named Alexis Avila also threw her newborn son in a dumpster behind a shopping mall. Luckily, the baby was found alive by 3 people who were looking through the garbage. Now, last week, another baby was found in a dumpster behind an apartment complex in Houston after someone heard a baby crying. When EMS arrived, they pulled the baby out of the trash bag with his umbilical cord still attached, and based on the baby's condition, it was obvious that he was just born. Police looked at surveillance footage and realized that this 18-year-old named Everilda, who worked at a taco truck beside the apartment, gave birth inside the truck and then threw the baby in the dumpster. She was then arrested, and she did admit to it and said that she did it because she feared that her boyfriend would break up with her. See, my thing is, if you cannot keep the baby for whatever reason, there are other options. You can drop the baby off at a hospital, and a lot of times they won't even ask you for anything. Why are we throwing babies in the garbage? This 18-year-old was charged with abandoning a child without intent to return, and her bond was set at $200,000.
The unsolved final footage of Lars Mittank is just as chilling as it is confusing. But the story really starts back in 2014. This is 28-year-old Lars, and he ends up taking a trip to Bulgaria with his friends. So at a night out at a bar, he ends up getting into an argument with several unknown men, which results in a fight, and he ends up rupturing his eardrum. Because of his injury, he insists that his friends are going to fly back without him, and he's just going to stay behind and recover for a few days. But as soon as he's left behind in the hotel, this is when the strange and erratic behavior becomes almost immediate, and he starts becoming paranoid and thinks there are men following him. Which then leads us to this final footage where we see Lars arriving at the airport, presuming that he's there to catch a flight because he has luggage in hand. But then for an unknown reason, we see him sprinting out of the terminal into the parking lot, and this was the last time he has ever been seen on camera. To this day, what Lars thought he was running from or where he went remains a complete unknown in this case.
What happened to Lars, bro? That's eerie, man. Imagine going leave your friend and never hearing from him again. And that's the freaking last footage you saw.
And she says, "Hi, Jamila."
Cheese. Cheese. What you doing?
What are you looking at?
What? What you see? Who are you saying hi to? Who are you saying hi to? Dude, you need to stop that. You're freaking me out. Come on. Where are you waving at, Liv?
Oh, man.
Was she, did you grandma almost couldn't walk?
She was old. She could walk, but she was old. Okay?
Mommy, your grandma's here. And she says, hi, Jamila.
What?
Your grandma's here. And she says, hi, Jamila.
Follow for more.
She was talking to her grandma?
Unsolved mysteries. This picture shows unsolved mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. Some of these mysteries will drive you crazy and make you question everything. In this series, we'll be picking some from each category until we reach Tier 10, which will apparently make you and me question our entire existence. Without further ado, let's get into Tier 1. This is Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, and it's one of the most famous unsolved mysteries of all time. Now, on the 8th of March 2014, the plane was flying from Kuala Lumpur International Airport to Beijing capital. However, the plane never reached its destination. After just over 2 hours, the flight disappeared off the radar, and ATC had no contact with the plane. Days after the mysterious disappearance, people started looking into it, but found absolutely nothing. Not even any debris was actually found initially. It's believed that the plane could have actually been hijacked. And it's also, of course, possible that the plane did just crash somewhere in the sea, but nothing was found. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss Tier 2. It's about to get crazy.
Here are some events that will happen by the year 2050. The sad truth is, by the year 2050, half of the world's population will not have access to clean drinking water.
Whoa.
Half of the Amazon rainforest will be deforested, leaving many animals without any shelter at all. In 2025, SpaceX is sending their first cargo ship to Mars. And if all goes well, they are sending their first humans to Mars by the year 2050. So who knows, maybe by 2050 we will have the first civilization on Mars. Animals are getting more dangerous and more powerful every year. Animals are evolving every day, becoming more of a threat to society. I'm not talking about your regular house pet, I'm talking about wild animals. For instance, in 2020, we found the first flying spider, your worst nightmare. You thought the coronavirus was bad? Well, by 2050, there could be more deadly viruses affecting the world than ever before. You better keep that face mask. The population will be 9.6 billion.
Hey man, we gotta be aware, bro, of things freaking coming to the future, man. The thing about flying spiders, hell no. See, I can't do that. That's just something I refuse to believe in, bro. No.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 10. It has been said that in some cases, if you hear ringing in your ear, it could be signs of a dead family member trying to contact you. Hey, Grandma. Many statistics have shown that blue-eyed people are more likely to suffer from alcoholism and depression than anyone else. You've got to be kidding me. There have been some cases reported of doctors selling their patients' blood on the dark web. Number one, why would a doctor need to make any more extra money? Number two, why are you selling a patient's blood on the dark web? One time a lady found toenails in her chicken nuggets at McDonald's. There's a reason I don't eat McDonald's. 4 actors from The Poltergeist died shortly after the filming of the movie because they thought there was a hanging curse over the movie that caused them to die.
We ain't eating no freaking McDonald's chicken nuggets no more. Those out, bro. Toenails and chicken nuggets?
Imagine your best friend sleeping with your 6-year-old daughter, and that's not even the worst part of it. He films it and keeps it in his phone. This is one story that will live in your head rent-free, haunting and frankly disturbing. So this story happened in Russia in September of 2021, and it's about 2 friends, 32-year-old Oleg and 34-year-old Vyacheslav, who they say have been best friends for a very long time. Vyacheslav was married with kids. He and his wife had about 2 children at the time. And so every once in a while, maybe when either of them are busy or when both of them were busy, Vyacheslav would leave his children in the hands of his best friend Oleg to babysit till either he or his wife returns from work. And also for the fact that to the kids, Uncle Oleg was an uncle. He was pretty much family. Little did they know that something was wrong with Uncle Oleg. The whole story unfolded from August of 2021. And it so happened that one day while the 2 friends were hanging out in a bar, Vyacheslav picked Oleg's phone just to go through it for fun. And that was when he stumbled upon a video that looked off. He clicked on the video and saw his friend, the 2-year-old man, sexually assaulting his 6-year-old daughter. And that set him off. It was said that he confronted Oleg, and immediately Oleg ran away because at this point his cover has blown. Not only was he molesting his best friend's daughter, there were videos of him molesting about 7 other children in his phone multiple times. Click the link on our bio to get 820,000 naira bonus with 150 free spins to win exciting prizes using our promo code TCD to register.
Creepy fact you probably don't know, but you're about to. Part 2. At one time, doctors thought that babies didn't feel pain. It took up until 1987 for the American Academy of Pediatrics to declare that it was unethical to operate on babies without anesthesia. So that means for years, babies were forced to just sit there and suffer through surgery without any form of pain control or anesthetics. So yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yes,
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14.
Gotta find some more of those, bro. Let's keep us informed.
Cute animals that are actually horrifying, part 1. I know we all think of walruses as cute little fellas that make for great stuffed animals, but what if I told you they have a habit of sucking the brains out of baby seals while they're still alive?
What?
Walruses normally use their incredibly strong suction to vacuum clams out of their shells, but some wanted something a little meatier, and have used their strong suction for a much more sinister purpose, which I call the death hickey. They grab a young seal with their flippers, wrap their lips around the poor guy's nose, and turn on the vacuum, sucking the brains out through the seal's nose like it's drinking a smoothie. After it's had its appetizer, it hickeys off some other pieces of seal meat until it's done with its meal. But the wrath of walruses isn't limited to seals. I went into various walrus attacks on people in my latest YouTube video if you guys want to check it out.
Man, what the heck? It's news to me, bro. When you see walruses, they, like you said, they always display them as, they're kind, loving animals. They're braid eaters, bro. Shocking our reality. Wide open, man.
Here's the dark truth behind The Wizard of Oz. The actress that played Dorothy, Judy Garland, was actually drugged and molested during filming. She was also given adrenaline shots so that she could stay up to sometimes more than 48 hours in a row. And there was also reports that she was molested and sexually harassed by both the Munchkin actors and studio executives. The actress that plays the Wicked Witch also got horrifically burned on set. In this scene where the Wicked Witch escapes Munchkin Land in a plume of smoke, the pyrotechnics team accidentally set off the explosion a little too early, which caused the actress's broom, hat, and makeup to catch on fire. Medics had to use alcohol to remove her toxic makeup, which was extremely painful due to her burns. And the fake snow in this scene was made using asbestos, which causes cancer.
Hey man, these movie productions back in the day, they sound
Recent
cursed.
Discoveries, Part 2. Just last month, archaeologists examining a newly discovered ancient Egyptian cemetery found this lid on the coffin of an ancient priestess. It's clear that whomever arranged for her funeral wasn't prepared to pay top dollar for her burial. The internet has also pointed out that the image closely resembles Marge Simpson, even though the coffin is more than 3,000 years old. Last year, a perfectly intact 1,500-year-old arrow was discovered nestled between some rocks in Norway. The research team thinks it was encased in ice, then transported downslope as the ice melted.
An amateur diver exploring shallow waters near Israel recently discovered this 900-year-old iron sword. Experts believe it belonged to a Crusader knight before he lost it overboard during a fierce battle in the 11th century. An incredible discovery was recently made during renovations at a church in Naples, Italy. Behind a 16th century painting called Life of San Severo, workers found a hidden painting depicting St. George slaying a dragon.
Whoa. Hidden treasures. Hidden within.
These are scary facts about popular childhood movies, part 1. Next up, in the movie The Adventures of Milo and Otis, it's been reported that upwards of 20 cats were killed during the filming of the movie. There's a lot of speculation behind this, because the film somehow got the approval of the American Humane Society, despite not having their officers present during filming.
How? Someone wasn't doing their job, man. They tried to cut
Blood-curdling
corners.
facts that you wish you never knew. Part 19. Facebook was forced to shut down 2 artificial intelligence robots named Alice and Bob because they started communicating with one another in their own language. If you ever win the lottery, you're 120 times more likely to be killed by an immediate family member. A sloth has nipples in its armpits. In the 17th century, there was a man named Tare who could eat his entire body weight in just one sitting. And despite being pretty skinny, he would swallow live animals, eat human corpses, and was even accused of eating the body of a 3-year-old toddler. An 11-year-old boy named Konorak escaped Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, but was later returned to Dahmer by police, and he killed the boy just 30 minutes after. It's commonly believed in religion that angels look like this, but according to the Bible, they actually look like this.
Disturbing facts that may ruin your day.
Okay.
This 82-year-old woman went to the doctor for pelvic pain. She had been carrying a mummified fetus in her womb for over 40 years. The fetus was completely calcified and deemed the stone baby. Alcohol kills 1 person every 10 seconds worldwide. As whales reach old age, they don't have the strength to come up to the surface for air. This causes them to drown and sink to the bottom of the ocean. Bill Lewis, aka Mr. Mosby from the Disney Channel, was arrested for manslaughter and driving while intoxicated back in 1991. Due to scorching hot summers, Siberian bears have been digging up dead bodies from nearby cemeteries for food. It's like they see the cemeteries as giant refrigerators. Refrigerators have magnetic doors now because children used to die in them. Before the 1950s, refrigerators could be only opened from the outside. Toddlers' teeth are right below their eyes.
Whoa. That's a scary image, man. The skull, bro, with the teeth beneath the eyes. It really breaks my mind sometimes how the human body works. Jinn.
Jinn is basically a form of demon that has been known to possess animals or humans. What's terrifying is that you could see that the water sounded and looked like it actually hit something before falling to the ground. So even though we couldn't see it, we could hear it, and you could see that the water physically hit it.
We're learning about Jinn, so.
Urban legends I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. But in Canada, there was this legend that one night a bunch of people saw a bright blue light in the sky, and the next day an entire village of people disappeared. But it turns out that legend is rooted in something that really happened. This is coming from this week's episode. I have a whole series on urban legends that ended up being true, and it's a very scary listen. So in Canada in 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle was riding in the river in his canoe when he came to a village he had seen before. Except this time when he came upon it, it looked like everyone had left in a hurry. Food was still cooking, and a bunch of dogs were barking and super hungry as if they had been left behind. But the strangest part of all of this was in the middle of the community, there was a grave that had been disturbed. And that reminded the fur trapper of a very scary story he had heard. The legend of the Torn Rack, which was this demon that supposedly stalked the area. So he starts looking for someone who might know what happened to these people. They were a nomadic people. It didn't make any sense that they would have left all of their stuff behind. And that's when he finds a man in a hospital who is potentially part of the village. The man is so freaked out. He won't say anything at first, but eventually Joe gets him to talk, and he recognizes one word that the man says. Tornrak, the name of the evil deity that was potentially in the area. The police basically don't believe any of this, but they do acknowledge that before the disappearance, they did see blue lights in the sky that no one has been able to figure out what they were. I get more into the theories of what may have happened in this episode, and I also talk a little bit more about other urban legends that ended up being true.
Hey, remember this nonsense, the cheetah gator? Yeah, this was real, and there was a time where it was everyone's problem. His actual name is the Pasukas, and his hood is in what is now South America and Africa. And the memes are true. He was a land op, meaning he would run his prey down. Scientists believe the Pasukas would have galloped after its prey. Luckily for everything around it, it was actually a mini-me that only grew to about 3 to 5 feet long, and it probably only ate small lizards, mammals, and dinosaur hatchlings. Now, if this guy pulled up on you, it would be a very different movie. Caprosuchus saharicus was a 23-foot middle finger with teeth that looked like it belonged to a feral pig, which is actually why they were nicknamed the boar croc. And unlike crocodiles today, whose eyes are at the top of their head, the Caprosuchus' eyes were more lateral. You might not realize it, but that's very bad, because instead of just hiding in the water with just its eyes above the surface, this assault weapon with teeth had binocular vision and depth perception, meaning not only was it catching bodies on land, it was probably chasing them down too. And unlike its smaller cousin, it probably clapped dinosaurs. And if Google's right, this 23-foot monster with boar jaws would have been almost as fast as Usain Bolt, and they would have attacked you by slamming this down into you like a sledgehammer. The only reason they're not around today is even nature knows when it's gone too far.
Lucky, bro.
CERN has accidentally opened multiple portals all around the world, and strange creatures are coming out. Part 2. They have discovered a new creature called a Dracohound. Their diet has consisted of small berries, rodents, and other vegetation. Another animal that they discovered is called flutterpaws. They've also found forest sentinels, which are beetle-like creatures, eating things like plant matter, fungi, and insects. Now the scary part is they found one of these portals under the ocean. Strange ships have been popping out of them. The technology in these ships are way more advanced than ours, and scientists believe that humanoid creatures are flying these things. Make sure you hit that follow button because part 3 is wild.
CERN open up portals? Nothing new.
And from all my years of education, this is the scariest fact I know. There is a cosmological model for the future of the universe called the Big Rip, and it tells us how the universe might end. You've been warned. As our universe expands, it continues to speed up, getting faster and faster, and from everything we know about physics, it's not going to slow down. If this is true, in around 22 billion years from now, the force of dark energy driving the universe's expansion will overcome all other forces of physics, literally causing galaxies to be destroyed, the solar system to be ripped apart, Earth will then explode, and finally, the literal atoms in everything will be ripped apart. So if any humans are around then, they will be literally ripped apart, atom by atom, from the universe itself. Enjoy your dreams tonight.
Further that you look
expanding
at
too
darkness, you
fast.
start to realize just how dark it really is. This woman behind me, this is Lorleen Wallace. She was the first female governor of Alabama, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. Dark history for Lorleen was that, legally, doctors did not have to tell her. They only told her husband. Please let that sink in. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, terminal cancer, and only her husband was told. Her husband decided not to tell her. Legally, he didn't have to. It was thought at the time that women's nerves were too fragile to be able to handle news like this, so only their husbands were told. I think we're probably going to cover this on the podcast, because this is actually a pretty in-depth story if you want to listen. Basically, the way this story ends is that Lorleen, she does become governor. She runs, but she only lives through the first year of her term. She was never initially told she was dying.
Creepy last words people
That's
said right
insane,
before
man.
dying. A 20-year-old gang member was dying of primary liver cancer. In his last days, hours, and moments, he was angry. The family called the hospice nurse into the room and told her that they thought he was going. He wasn't responding, his eyes were glossy, his skin was cold, the end was imminent. His lovely mother whispered to him to go towards the light, to her Jesus. He opened his eyes, looked at her, and said, "F your Jesus." A second or two later, he slowly turned his head to the left and got the most horrific look on his face, as if he was looking at something that they couldn't see. And horrified, his face contorted, and he screamed with his last breath, eyes wide, "Oh sh*! Oh sh*! Oh no!" Then he made a guttural noise and promptly fell back into the bed and died. Every family member was shaking and too frightened to speak. The hospice nurse left the room and took 2 days off. She said she doesn't care if she never finds out what he saw.
What did he see?
A different version of you exists in the minds of everyone who knows you. Nighttime is the natural state of the universe. Daytime is only caused by a nearby radiating ball of flame. The word mortgage comes from a French term that means death pledge, or a contract that only expires upon death. Over 50% of commercial pilots have all admitted to falling asleep while flying a plane. The sun may have exploded, and we wouldn't know it for at least 8 minutes. Hit the plus sign if these disturbed you.
The fact about the mortgage is basically saying it's come from a death term.
Here are some things that are completely normal during the day but really creepy at night. Digging holes in your backyard. I mean, it's your backyard and you're entitled to do whatever you want to it, but if I see you digging some holes in the middle of the night, I'm gonna be really concerned. Bonus creepy points if you have some trash bags next to you too. I feel bad for people who work graveyard shifts or are night owls because it makes it difficult to do any gardening or landscaping without looking pretty creepy. They say a child's laughter is one of the most beautiful sounds in the world, but not if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scary movies have absolutely ruined the sound of a child laughing for me because most instances I'm gonna assume the worst. And for some reason, little girls laughing are even more scary. Like imagine being in the woods camping and you hear some little girl laughing in the distance. My brain isn't gonna think, oh cool, some family must be camping near us. No, I'm gonna think that I'm gonna get murdered or possessed by some demon. Someone knocking on your door during the day, it's annoying. Who the fuck is showing up at my house unannounced? It must be a salesman or worse, Mormons. That same knock at 3 in the morning? No, I'm getting murdered for sure. I'm on the 2nd floor and my only way out is to jump out the window, so I'm done for.
People you never knew existed. This is Josephine Myrtle, and she was born with 4 legs and 2 sets of genitals. Despite having these conditions, she got married and had 5 kids. These are the only 2 men in the world who can speak the Ayapeneco language in Mexico. But they don't talk to each other because they have beef. Doctors were left stunned when this man came into the hospital complaining about chest pain. After a couple of scans, they realized he had 2 hearts. Jill Price has perfect memory of her life, and if you ask her what she ate for breakfast 20 years ago, she would get it right.
I think the thing that got me the most was when the girl or woman who had like 5 sets of freaking legs and genitals. Man, it's freaking mind blowing out here, bro. These people, man, you think wouldn't exist. It's like they're coming out of a freaking video game or something like that. Extraordinary people in this world. You gotta expand your mind.
What could be more terrifying than the thought of your own body setting itself on fire? For hundreds of years, this phenomenon has been the subject of scientific scrutiny as well as deep mystery. Spontaneous human combustion. This is when the human body appears to ignite internally, a fire starting from within before the entire body becomes engulfed. This actually dates all the way back to the 1600s, and since then there have only ever been about 200 cases reported worldwide. In 1984, a scientific team was assembled led by Joe Nickell to investigate a number of these cases dating back to the 1800s. One of the unusual threads that was found between all of these cases was that with every body investigated, there seemed to be some trace of alcohol in the system. This gave way to the Wick theory, suggesting that if alcohol was in the system and there was some kind of a chemical change that could ignite a fire, body fat could be used as an accelerant, making the mystery of this phenomenon one you should think about next time you're drinking.
That's why I don't even drink.
Is this a coincidence? Tree stump. Fingerprints.
Similar.
Tree branch. Human lungs. Leaf veins. Human veins.
Some chilling similarities.
Tree of life. Human placenta. Grass. Human hair. Tree roots. Human veins. River network. Human veins. Tree roots. Human nervous system. Thorn plant. Human spine.
Let me find out.
You are today years.
Don't tell me we're just basically more evolved a version of a tree, man. The tree branches and the lugs, man. And they look similar. That's the grass and the human hair. It was eerie similar, bro. One time we were just basically a more evolved version of a tree.
Years old when you found this zone. If you want to heat up some food at night, microwaves have a silent mode. To activate the silent mode, all you have to do is hold down the 1 button. So you're driving a car, you need gas, but you don't know which side the tank is on. If you look on the dashboard, there's an arrow next to the gas tank indicating which side the gas tank is on. Surprisingly, the drawer under the oven isn't used to hold pots and pans. It's made to keep your food warm until you're ready to eat.
Wow.
Airplane windows actually have little holes in them to prevent the windows from fogging. These candies are called lifesavers because if a child accidentally chokes someone, they will still be able to breathe because of the hole in the middle.
Now I know where the name come from. What was the wonder? That was a weird name for a candy, lifesavers. Just an added seekers. Trees walking. Now, come on now.
Don't freak out, but this bug lives on your face. Demotic mites dig face first inside your pores. But don't freak out, they're harmless. They just eat your grease and dead skin on your face. But there is one thing you should be worried about. Don't cry, but they do wake up in the middle of the night to mate on your face. Yeah, now you know. But they're harmless. And they live on all of you. Live with it. Like if you want a part 2 of things you don't know that live on your body.
That my face right now? What the hell, bro?
This is what we know about the awful case of 16-year-old Shelby Binney. Shelby was a cheerleader at Bixby High School, and on Thursday night, her family was on their way home with her dad behind the wheel. He had reportedly been drinking, and according to her mom, they were also having a heated argument up in the front seat. At 70 miles per hour, he tried to pass another vehicle in a no-passing zone, and their SUV flipped. As we know, Shelby was tragically ejected from her family's vehicle on impact. A bystander immediately ran over to the scene, but there aren't even words for what happened next. Shelby's father was reportedly standing disoriented just outside of the crashed car, and when asked if anyone was hurt, he ran away. He left his 16-year-old daughter there to die on the pavement. Now, according to police, they were able to determine that Elliot had fled to a local family-owned business, and it was there that he got access to another car. They were able to electronically track that vehicle, and within 12 hours, they found him behind the wheel in a town about an hour away. It was obviously too late to give him a DUI test, but he was taken into custody. With Elliot's arrest, we know that while he tried to tell police he skidded on an oil spot, he's also admitted to taking a few swigs of the vodka bottle that was found in the front seat. Today, Elliot is charged with first-degree manslaughter, but he has already posted his $100,000 bail. And as for Shelby's mom and her siblings, again, unfortunately, we don't know how they're doing now. Shelby is described as a bright light with a heart of gold and the best teammate you could ask for. If you would like to support her family during this time, the link will be in my bio.
People need to stop driving, man, when they're intoxicated. It's very simple.
Yeah, the hyena's a girl. So many may know, female hyenas have a fake meat hose that looks almost identical to the real thing. And for those that don't, actually, that's the lead. They have a pseudo-phallus that they give birth from, and yes, it's as traumatizing as you think, and yes, the very process of birth can end up doing the exact opposite for everyone involved. But low-key, having a built-in flesh strap might explain why hyenas are exactly the way they are. So for most animals, life pretty much comes down to the 3 F's: food, fights, and... So a lot of times when male animals run a fade, it's for the goal of female validation. But hyenas having a female 5th leg means they have a natural crotch block. It's basically anti-mating hardware that means the no-pants dance can only happen if she allows it. So unlike things like lions or bears, there's really no reason for male hyenas to want smoke with each other when getting it in is already RNG. Pun intended. And it's believed having coitus completely out of their control is why male hyenas are way less aggressive and even have less testosterone than the females. Meanwhile, the females are more on-go than a green light. And why hyena sisters are way more likely to put each other on a t-shirt. And with them being pack animals with a whole social ladder, the Walking Comedy Club had to become more aggressive just to give their cubs a chance at life. Matter of fact, that's probably why they have more testosterone. So yeah, moral of this video. Lion King did hyenas every type of dirty, but they got it right when they had Shanti giving orders. And now you know why.
Horses are much bigger
just
than
registered.
People, so naturally they just have a lot more blood than we do. So whenever horses get nosebleeds, it ends up looking like a whole crime scene. So one of the only reasons we know how many people died in the Titanic are the shoes that are laying on the ocean floor. Some are pretty cool, others are kind of depressing. And the reason we count the shoes instead of, bones is because when the Titanic hit the floor, all the corpses kind of just scattered and the fish ate the corpses, but the fish couldn't eat the shoes. If you ever decide to go climb Mount Everest, I hope that you remember that the crevices in the ice are V-shaped. Which means if you were to ever accidentally fall down one, you more than likely wouldn't would die instantly. Your body heat would melt the ice around you, causing you to slip further and further down until your chest couldn't expand enough to breathe. So make sure you bring a friend just as crazy as you to help get you out.
Mount Everest, one of the most deadliest places ever. I don't think I'm gonna go there, man. You might have to pay me. I had too many stories about that mountain.
It
needs to be reopened.
Chick-fil-A Marie
Simple.
has to be my favorite case of all time. Like, I actually get butterflies in my stomach every time I revisit this case. I'm just so fascinated by the killer. He was so dedicated. He was gorgeous. Super, super dreamy. Like, if he wasn't behind bars, I would probably be with him. And just how dedicated he was to chopping her into bits and pieces. I mean, he really had no remorse, and we almost have to appreciate that. Like, the fact that he carried this chainsaw around for miles and miles, and after chopping her up, it just wasn't enough that he decided to also set on fire. I'm like, there's something hot about that. Siri, play This Girl Is on Fire. We can make jokes now, guys. It's been a long time. The best part about this is that this killer had no remorse. During the court hearing, he actually sat and looked her family members dead in the eyes. Dead, get it, guys? And he actually just laughed the entire time. And you know what? I can appreciate a man who doubles down. Also, disclaimer before people get their panties in a twist, I'm being super, super respectful of the family. I'm only sharing things that I've seen already on the internet, so I'm not making things up. These are just facts, and I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Here are some facts that
Nah, some of those we can juke. You can't break the case down like that, man. Like, there's too much. She's just a little bit too happy to explain what was going on, man. But she said from a POV, so obviously she was just doing, I guess, what some other people be doing when they breaking down cases, but that ain't the way to do it.
you were never taught that could legitimately save your life one day. So listen the fuck up! If there is a random smell of fish in your house when you haven't had fish, obviously, how do I put this? Get the fuck out! Because this is most likely a sign of an electrical fire. If someone you know is having a heart attack, then you need to give them aspirin. Be sure they chew it before they swallow it, because it makes it work faster. If you are outside or high up or whatever, and you not only hear a crunchy crickling noise in the sky, also your hair starts to randomly stand up like it's static, you need to run, because you, my friend, are about to get struck by lightning. If you are in the pool and the pool water starts tasting metallic, first piece of advice, stop drinking pool water! Get the fuck out, because there's most likely an electrical short somewhere in the water. Finally, bats are the best place to hide during a tornado. So grab your rubber ducky and wait it out. It's a big deal. If you didn't know any of these, you have to share it, and are all with me now.
This is the
scary
truth about Mars. So everybody knows humans are trying to get people to live on Mars. Especially Elon Musk. But none of these people ever tell you this scary truth about the red planet Mars. Mars is actually famous for its dust storms, and they have the largest sandstorms in the entire solar system. These storms can last for months, and these storms just don't stick to one area. These storms actually engulf the entire planet of Mars, and the winds can reach up to 60 miles per hour. These sandstorms can also block the sun, which would just start a domino effect of problems. So, if us humans actually make it to Mars, one of these storms can just kill us all and just ruin all the years of hard work to get there.
So why they want us to go to Mars then? If they know this information. I'm starting to think it's a setup. Those people going to Mars might be a trap, man. The more you know, Seekers. You gotta stay on Earth, man. I never even knew that until I watched these clips with you guys, man. That's why I was always expanding my mind.
This is the dirtiest man in the world. Malhaji is in his 80s and he hasn't bathed for over 60 years. He leads a nomadic lifestyle in Iran, and his favorite food is rotten porcupine, and he smokes animal feces out of a pipe. He believes that cleanliness will bring him sickness, and he says the thought of taking a bath after all this time makes him angry.
Don't go 60 years without
Now I know we all love
taking
the
a
thought of
shower.
little old E.T. coming to visit Earth, making his entrance like, hello. But maybe that isn't such a good idea for, you know, fucking humanity. Actually, a lot of scientists hope that the universe is completely empty. We're so lonely.
The theoretical Great Filter. It's fucking terrifying. The scientists have calculated that there should be at least 20 civilizations in our galaxy alone. So, E.T., where the fuck are you? Come home to Tatty. Or a more terrifying question, what happened to them? That is what scientists are asking. The Great Filter. The belief that somewhere along life's trajectory, life suddenly goes, you know what, nah, fuck you all. Completely wiping it out before it becomes too intelligent. An inevitable, unavoidable phenomenon. It's different to every civilization. It could be disease. We have enough fucking that. Nuclear power, AI, no wait, no, too soon. Or one of these fucking things. Now there's two options. One, we're already ahead of the Great Filter. We survived or did the undoable, making us very rare. Or we're behind it, still yet to face our challenge that we most likely won't survive. And we won't see it coming. Elon!
You guys think we made it past the Great Filter yet? I don't know. What the hell were those things walking? Can't even explain that.
Kids have ever said. A man's mother passed away in a car accident when he was 6 years old. When his 2-year-old daughter saw a picture of her grandmother for the first time, she laughed. He asked her, "What's so funny?" She looked at him and said, "That's my special friend who sings to me." A man's 3-year-old daughter stood next to her newborn brother and looked at him for a while. She turned back to her dad and said, "Daddy, it's a monster. We should bury it." A woman and her 4-year-old son were out in public when all of a sudden he starts rubbing on her belly and talking to it. She asked what he was doing, and he said, "I'm talking to the baby." She informed him politely that she was not pregnant, and then he said, "There is a baby in your belly. I just saw it crawl across the floor and climb up into you." A woman's 5-year-old asked when he was going to be 23 years old. She told him in 18 years. He replied, "Well, I hope I don't die again, because that's how old I was the last time I went to heaven." Follow for more of the...
That last one. It's chilling. Like he caught a glimpse of his past life where he knew. We saw clips before about kids talking about past lives and it was true, so.
This is real footage that was accidentally captured by a group of scientists that were looking for an old library. They found an ancient cult that had been around for thousands of years, using teeth as their form of currency. This elusive cult has rarely ever been captured on camera. You see, this cult wears masks to hide their identity, as well as hooded cloaks that are either red or black, and worship a god called Winfred Stitch. And that's why this cult is called the Stitch Veneration. They can often be found at music concerts, and only one musician called Covey is known to be a Stitcher, with the Stitch symbol tattooed on his hand, and fans wear masks to all of the shows.
It's right in front of our eyes. We ain't even paying attention.
I want to go ahead and I want to discuss this Instagram story and what makes this diabolically creepy. So I'm not going to give the name, I blocked everything out because clearly they want to remain anonymous. Context is that somebody clearly broke into their old school. I don't know if it was their middle school, high school, whatever it was. And they posted this to their story, but pretty soon after people started commenting about what they see in the background. You zoom in just a little bit, you would see that this person was not alone in that classroom. But before we take a deeper look at that photo, a huge thank you to Spyfly for bringing me this story. If you want to look up something about somebody, you go to Spyfly. How to become this one-stop shop where you can do background reports, you can look at arrest records, you can even do reverse phone lookup. Spyfly.com is going to be the place to do it. You can check the link in my bio for more details. So back to this photo. I don't know if you can see this, but there is definitely somebody crouching in the background of this classroom. And if you still doubt me, I zoomed in and enhanced the picture for you.
Damn.
This is John List.
I saw it.
In 1971, he murdered his entire immediate family before escaping and starting a completely new life that he lived for more than 17 years before he was eventually caught. This is a wild story. I covered it on the latest episode of my podcast, but here's an overview. In 1951, John List married Helen Taylor, and together they had 3 children, Patricia, John Frederick, and Frederick. List had served in the Army and was an accountant with a successful career working as a comptroller for a bank in Jersey City, New Jersey. The family lived in a 19-room mansion in Westfield, New Jersey called Breeze Knoll. And the 5 of them, along with John's mother Alma, who was also living with them, were swimming in space there. The family seemed to have a happy life here. It seemed like John was successful, and they weren't super social, but everything seemed fine. The kids were popular and hardworking, and nobody knew anything bad about the family. Behind closed doors, things were not as they seemed. Helen was an alcoholic and was extremely ill from contracting syphilis from her first husband. And John List had lost his job at the bank. But instead of telling his family, he basically went to work every day pretending that he was going to his job and coming home after work hours. And he started skimming money off of his mother's bank account to help pay the mortgage. But then on November 9th, 1971, John List would do the unthinkable. That morning, he dropped the kids off at school and returned home. And when he got home, he took out one of his guns, approached his wife of almost 20 years, and shot her in the back of the head. He then went up to the attic apartment where his 84-year-old mother lived and shot her as well. When 16-year-old Patricia and 13-year-old Frederick arrived home from school, List attacked them from behind, shooting them each in the back of the head. List then made himself some lunch. He went into the bank and closed both him and his mother's accounts, and then he went to Westfield High School where he watched his middle son, John Frederick, play a soccer game. After the game, he drove 15-year-old John Frederick home. And when they got home, he attacked. John Frederick tried to fight back, but unfortunately he ended up succumbing to multiple gunshot wounds. List then placed the bodies of Helen, Patricia, John Frederick, and Frederick on top of sleeping bags in the mansion's ballroom. He left Alma up in the attic apartment because she was too heavy to drag down. He then wrote a letter to his pastor confessing what he had done, and he wrote letters to the kids' school saying that they would be gone visiting a sick relative for a few weeks so nobody would suspect them missing. Then he walked around the house and removed every single photo of himself from all of the photo albums. Finally, he started piping religious music throughout the home, and then he left. By the time the bodies were discovered a month later, John List was long gone. And while he was the immediate main suspect in the murders, police didn't have a lot to go on, and they were unable to circulate a recent photo of him because he had removed every single photo of himself from inside the house. The family's car was found at JFK Airport, but John List went undetected for almost 18 years. Part 2.
Was swallowed by a python at work. On October 23rd, an Indonesian man reported his wife Jahra missing when she failed to return home after working a shift at a rubber plantation. After searching the plantation, her scarf, sandals, jacket, and working tools were found, but she could not be located. Not long after, a 20-foot python was spotted that looked extremely bloated. They killed and cut open the snake and found Jahra's body inside. Her body was intact, meaning that she had been swallowed whole.
By a python swallowed whole?
This is why you should always actually listen to what children tell you. This 9-year-old boy literally lived on midnight snacks because every night he would come downstairs and eat a ton of junk food. Until one night he was in the kitchen and thought he heard something from around the corner, but everyone was asleep. So he peeked around the corner and that's when he saw a man guzzling milk straight from the carton. The terrified boy ran upstairs, got his parents, and they all checked out the kitchen, but it looked normal. They told him that his imagination was just playing tricks on him, but the boy knew what he saw. So days went by, but the boy always felt like he was being watched, until one night he looked up at his ceiling vent and saw 2 eyes staring back down at him. He ran to go tell his parents, but again, they told him, it's just your imagination, stop bothering us. Then the boy smelled this really horrible stench coming from the ceiling, so he convinced his parents to cut into it and see what was up there. And there they found that same skinny man who was drinking the milk dead in the ceiling.
Listen to the kids, man. They're telling the truth.
Scariest urban legend from each state, Part 3. Annabelle from Connecticut. The demonic doll you see in the Conjuring and Annabelle movies was actually based on a real-life Raggedy Ann doll that was supposedly inhabited by a spirit of a dead girl who was then trapped in a spirit case by Ed and Lorraine Warren. It's also stated if you look at the doll the wrong way or dare to touch the case, your future looks extremely dark.
The lies that Disney tells to avoid traumatizing children. Pocahontas. She was 10 years old. And he was 27.
They ain't put that in an animated movie.
She called him father. Sleeping Beauty. It is based on a story where a married king finds a sleeping princess. And the princess gave birth to a pair of twins while she was sleeping. The Little Mermaid. The prince married another. And the Little Mermaid turned into sea foam.
I don't know if that's cap or fact, man. We're gonna have to check that out. These videos we watch together, man, always check for yourself.
3 seconds. If you don't see it, you die.
Is that an elephant?
Alright, time's up, and if you didn't see the hyena, you are now a hypothetical hashtag. Let's talk about the lion-hyena beef, and how it has a living laugh track guts deep in an elephant. So it's actually not a beef more than a blowout, because lions do hyenas dirty. Being an animal nerd is realizing lions steal from hyenas more than hyenas do to lions. The reason you thought it was the opposite was because all those times researchers would watch a lion eat and hyenas trying to steal a piece, whole time the hyenas were trying to steal back what was stolen from them. Hyenas have a higher hunting success rate, because they're homicide on Duracell. They do not get tired, they will run you into a grave. Lions, especially males, are good, but they don't have the stamina, but they do have the bulk to solo bigger prey, but also take a hyena's lunch. Fun fact, it takes about 20 hyenas to humble a male lion. And they know it. They also know that hyenas are their biggest competition on the plains and will murk them on sight. Now hyenas will roll in clans of up to 80, so they'll get their get back when they have the numbers, but band for band versus a lion king, they take the L almost every time. Hyenas are smart, and they've been known to hide inside expired elephants to avoid not just rival hyenas, but pirating lions too. Doing that means they can finesse more mealtime without getting hurt, murked, or put on a shirt. Moral of the story? Now you see why they pulled up in the elephant graveyard. Maybe. I don't know. The more you know.
This daycare owner shot her husband twice after she found this out. Shantiri Weems and her husband James owned this daycare called Kids Castle. On July 2022, a woman whose child was attending Kids Castle approached Shantiri and told her that her daughter was being molested by James. Shantiri lost it, and in that moment, she made her way to a hotel in Washington, D.C. where James was staying at and shot him in the neck and thigh. Shantiri admits that her intentions were to paralyze James because she was just so angry. Keep in mind, Shantiri loved kids and her job, and she wanted this daycare to be something where kids felt like they were safe. And she said after seeing the pain in this mother's face, she snapped. James had contact with 93 children, and most of them rode on the daycare bus with him, which is where most of the abuse happened. And this story only gets more disturbing. James was also a retired Baltimore police officer. But ultimately, Shantiri was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and the judge said that she should have never taken the law into her own hands. James, on the other hand, faces 30 counts of child sexual abuse and assault charges.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 18. A man from Queens once spent 5 months in jail completely unaware that his bail was just $2. Since spiders molt, when you see what you might think is a dead spider, it could just be that the spider left behind its exoskeleton and is now bigger than before. Almost everyone on Earth is walking around with a bunch of poop inside of them. Scientists accidentally killed the world's oldest living animal, which was a clam that lived to be 507 years old. Statistically speaking, at least one person who comments on this video will not be alive tomorrow. The real reason you shouldn't eat raw cookie dough isn't because of getting sick from eating raw eggs. It's because you shouldn't eat raw flour, which contains fecal matter from all the birds flying over the field and pooping on the wheat.
Today we're going to be talking about the urban legend of Hug and Molly from Abbeville, Alabama. Also, I'm starting a new series about urban legends by state, and we're starting with Alabama because it's the first one in alphabetical order. She's a ghostly presence that is 7 feet tall, and she wears like this black cloak, and she haunts the town at night, and she apparently grabs kids that are being bad, and she screams in their ear at the top of her lungs, which can be deafening. Some people think that she was a mother who lost her children. Some people think that she was a school teacher back when she was alive. I like the school teacher theory, honestly, because like I was a substitute for years and I would also do this in the afterlife. Also, I love that it's so southern that it's actually Hug and Molly. Like as a Texan, okay, I appreciate the southern drawl on that. It looks like she even has her own Pokemon card.
What?
But she's so entwined with the town of Abbeville that she's even on the sign for when you enter the town. This would be a great place to take the kiddos. This is from the Hug and Molly movie. Why does it kind of look like me at the movie theater when I'm pissed off that they run out of Twizzlers? But like 7 feet tall? Hello, mommy. She's an icon. She is the moment. We love her. How do you feel about Miss Molly?
I ain't going there, bro. I can scratch that off the list. Hugging Molly, we will not be going there.
What people saw in this picture is what led them to believe that ghosts are real. When you look at this picture, what do you see? It just looks like a picture of a man having a picnic, sitting on a bench with his child at the park. The guy in this picture's name is Christopher. His wife was the one holding the camera and taking this picture. They didn't think anything of it. He posted the picture on his Facebook page, and that's when people noticed something in the picture and had so many questions. Zoom in, take a look around. Can you see it? It looks like there's a woman in the top left corner of this picture. Christopher and his wife both confirmed that it was just the three of them at the park this day, and they didn't notice anything when she took the picture. This is where it takes an interesting spin, because just a year before the picture was taken, this woman went missing in the same area. She was later found deceased inside of the pond. Some people said that this figure in the top left corner has an eerily similar resemblance. What do you think about this?
This is the haunt.
Could that be good? Could that have been a ghost, man? I don't know. After hearing what happened in that area, bro, it definitely sound like some spirits definitely roaming around there. And I wouldn't be in that area. And they caught that on camera too, 4K. Who knows?
Haunting story that inspired sinners. Robert Johnson was a young man living on a plantation in rural Mississippi with dreams of becoming a musician. It's said that he walked to a crossroads and made a deal with the devil to improve his guitar playing. Because anyone who heard Robert Johnson play, and you can find some of his audio on YouTube, they all said he was extremely talented. Legend says he sold his soul to Satan, and others will say the African god Papa Legba. When you make a deal to the devil, he always comes back to collect. Robert Johnson got to experience some success, but it was short-lived. Robert Johnson died for reasons unknown at the age of 27, making him an inaugural member of the 27 Club. Selling your soul to the devil could also be a phrase from Southern conservatives to say that you are leaving the church and instead choosing to play music in dance halls where there is drinking and other kinds of sinning going on. Some other more logical theories are that Robert Johnson had syphilis or that he was poisoned for flirting with another man's wife. A fellow blues player, Honeyboy Edwards, claims to be witness to this poisoning. Honeyboy said Robert was offered a bottle of whiskey and he knocked it out of his hand, saying that he should never drink something that he hasn't seen opened, which is good advice. Instead, Robert got mad at him and accepted a second drink and fell ill hours later. A lot of his songs reference crossroads and the devil, and Ryan Coogler said on the Mike Muse show that these mythical references helped inspire the idea for Sinners. If you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts and follow for more.
I've heard they said Sinners is like a freaking great movie. They've been clamoring. They even put it back in IMAX and some more IMAX theaters. Any of the seekers actually checked it out? Sounds like a crazy story, man. But Ryan Coogler got, I guess, inspired by to put it in the movie. That's why I guess it's so good.
Little girl will forever share her birthday with the date her mother died.
This is who you ruined her life. She will never know her mommy.
23-year-old Yesenia Aguilar was 8 months pregnant when this woman who was under the influence ran her over. Yesenia and her husband were walking together on the sidewalk when Courtney Pendulfi came out of nowhere and hit Yesenia. What's crazy is that this was Courtney's 5th DUI since 2008. Fortunately, after an emergency C-section, the baby survived. But the mother didn't, and the father, James Alvarez, says that it's been difficult accepting the fact that his wife died on the same day that his daughter was born.
Scariest urban legends from every US state. This shows some of the most popular urban legends from every single state across the USA. And as you've probably guessed, in this series we're going through all of them. From the most normal ones to the really dark, disturbing ones. So let's kick off part 2. Oh, this is creepy. So the legend goes, a long time ago in New York in a children's hospital. Children would be in this hospital and at night obviously they'd basically just be left alone. The legend was about someone called Cropsy. Cropsy has a hook for a hand and lurks around at night in the children's hospital. He stalked and unalived these people who he found walking in the corridors at night. Apparently everybody who goes to camp in upstate New York knows about this legend, so let me know if that's true. This is where things get even more disturbing. A documentary was posted which basically confirmed this was real. Convicted killer and kidnapper Andrew Rand. That's him there in the middle, and it was real. A follow button is going to get crazy, and let me know which state you're from.
It's a crazy story, man, that happened in New York. What the hell? Kids' hospitals? I don't know why they mad.
Let's talk about some real creepy American urban legends. And today we'll be talking about the Dead Children's Playground. Now, the Dead Children's Playground is one of Huntsville, Alabama's most haunted locations. And it is located within Maple Hill Cemetery. And it might look like a typical ordinary playground, but the kids that play on this playground is not alive. Now, accounts differ on why locals call this playground the Dead Children's Playground, because it was originally called the Maple Hill Park. But some say the children that passed away in the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic was buried in the Maple Hill Cemetery that's like right next door to this park, come back at night to play on this playground. And others think that the reason of the paranormal activity at this playground was from a series of child abductions that happened in Huntsville in around like the 1960s. And there was like several children bodies that was recovered near this playground. But there has been lots of people over the years that have encountered seeing a lot of paranormal activity going on. Like they could literally see the swings moving without any type of wind or drift to be able to push these swings. Lots of people have actually spotted children and that like would disappear off, or different type of orbs. There's even some kind of pictures online that people have claimed to have taken of these children or the different orbs around this playground. But I mean, it's not really weird that this playground would be haunted because it's literally connected to a very popular cemetery. And like I said before, with this pandemic, this was like a worldwide pandemic, and lots of children and adults passed away during this pandemic. And it unalived at least the estimate of 50 million people worldwide during the time. And the hospitals were like filled, and the doctors was working long shifts to, help the patients out. And a lot of patients basically had to be treated at home in quarantine. And it got to the point where bodies was literally having to be stacked on wagons and hauled to morgues by horses. And according to the Alabama Department of Public Health, it hit Alabama really hard. But although there's not an actual account of the number of children that passed away during this pandemic, but people believe that it was at least hundreds that was buried in the Maple Hill Cemetery. And the original playground equipment was removed in 2007 to make room for the expanding cemetery. But a lot of the locals and citizens was outraged and demanded that the original, equipment be returned. And the city responded with the new playground that stands there today. So let me know if y'all ever heard of this urban legend, or if y'all live in the Huntsville, Alabama area and y'all have seen some stuff, because I believe it. The playground is right beside the cemetery, so that's not really weird that a lot of paranormal activity happens here. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Alabama is a haunting place, bro.
Well, it's Halloween again, which means once a year I have an excuse to talk about this, so here you go. The most toxic relationship in all of nature. Or at least top 2 of certain entanglements count. That is an anglerfish, although you might recognize them as the demon guppy that nearly put Nemo in a foster home. It's also canon that this was a female, because the female fish are about 40 times bigger than the males they dwarf. That's like being 5'2" with some attitude, but your man's only 1.5 inches. So the bite-sized male tracks her down in the dark through pheromones and bites her. You already know how this goes. While still attached to her, the male starts to degenerate and his body begins to fuse with hers on some like Deviant Steven Universe timing. I'm talking about like even his blood vessels fuse into hers. This parasitic +1 even starts to lose his internal organs, because again, he's not like he's gonna need them. And that's it. That's the rest of his life. Just a war on the female whose only purpose is fertilizing eggs. Basically becomes a living STD, and like Stid, sometimes you don't just get one. Some females can end up with several lumps on their bodies that used to be males. It's a nasty codependent relationship, because the male's a parasite that will pretty much die if he doesn't find a female to leech off of. And the female just uses him as a nut factory with no almonds. Whole time she can have a whole herd of herpes, or I guess himpies, stuck to her. Now you see why she wanted Nemo in the system. I don't even blame her. That's a horrendous script to have written for you.
These are scary urban legends in each state, part 4. Up first is La Mala Hora. La Mala Hora is located in New Mexico and is a very scary and dangerous demonic spirit. She walks around lonely roads after midnight and terrorizes those who travel alone. People who have seen her say she appears as a large black lump, constantly moving and changing shape. But the scariest part about La Mala Hora is that anyone who lays eyes on her will be driven completely insane. She tries to hypnotize and paralyze anyone who encounters her. Some people even believe the devil himself is scared of La Mala Hora. People who live in New Mexico also say that she really never appears in human form. But if she does, it means somebody you know or yourself is going to die soon. So if you live in New Mexico, I feel bad for you.
La Mala Hora. When I go to New Mexico, we gotta be
Creepy
aware.
True Stories Part 2. Dylan Koshman moved in with his two cousins, Colin and Nick. Dylan had met a new girlfriend named Erin. They fell for each other and she was always at the house, so the cousins really got mad and started to demand more rent from Dylan. One night, Dylan and the cousins got really drunk and a big fight broke out. They told Dylan to move out that night and they said he left and never came back. A few days later, Dylan's mom asked them to file a missing person report, but they never did. Instead, the girlfriend did. No traces of Dylan have been found since, and nobody knows what happened. The aunt says she found bloody tissues in their house, and the cousins say that Dylan left at 2 a.m., but the neighbors complained at 4 a.m. to the cops about loud noises. Lesson of the day, your girl will ride for you. What do you guys think happened? Did the cousins do something?
I don't know.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. So as we know, this photo right here shows all of the different conspiracy theories in the world, going from the least scary to, well, the scariest of the scary. So today let's kick off part 6 where stuff gets even wilder. So if you're easily scared or easily confused, keep on scrolling, do not watch this series. If you're here for the long run though, let's go. So today we've got dream theory, often referred to as alternate perception. Now this is just messed up and really confusing, so stick with me. Right, so you know when you have a lucid dream where it's really believable and you feel everything? You can literally control what happens in your dreams. It may be like real life. You know, you may be doing things you do in your everyday life, whatever, and sometimes you wake up and think, was that a dream? That's really weird. The theory is that we're actually switched. Now, stay with me. Basically, the theory is that what we're in right now, what I'm talking to you, you're watching TikTok, whatever, this is actually the dream world. So we're all dreaming. When we go to sleep and dream, that's actually the real world. See what I mean? Done a little switcheroo there. See what I mean? It's messed up and confusing. But if you think about it, we can control some of our dreams. So it is possible that that's another consciousness and another life. Hit that follow button so you never miss a part.
That dream theory, bro, got to me, man. How many of you been in a dream yet? We've been able to control it. I think that only happened to me a couple of times. But that's freaking mind-blowing to say that. I guess the moment we're in right now is the dream world, but when we actually go to sleep and dream, that's a real life, a different set of consciousness. It's mind-boggling, man. But it's interesting, though. I gotta dive deep into that one. These are some important questions, man, with some interesting ones.
This will make you always keep your hands under the covers. A young girl is home alone because her parents are out of town, with only her dog for company. She turns on the TV to learn that a killer is on the loose in her neighborhood. She runs to check the windows and locks all the doors, but she forgets about the basement window. She takes the dog with her to go to sleep and lets him sleep under the bed. But she awakes hours later to a dripping sound. She's too scared to move, so she reaches down to see if her dog is still there, and is granted with a reassuring lick. She then goes to the bathroom to make sure there isn't a leak. But when she walks in, she finds her dog dead, hanging from the shower head with blood slowly dripping onto the tiles. On the bathroom mirror, written in the dog's blood, are the words, "People can lick too."
Mythical creatures caught on camera. The blue.
About to see the blue? I thought that was a megalodon. Clear so far. We see something swimming in the distance.
Did y'all know that Miss Mary Mack, the nursery rhyme, is not so cute and sweet? Now let's talk about the scary meaning behind Miss Mary Mack. Now, like I mentioned before, a lot of these nursery rhymes, kid-friendly books and songs and movies was not kid-friendly and often originated from something so dark and creepy. Now, legend has it, Miss Mary Mack was born back in the day, and she was born with lots of deformities. Back then, people literally looked at you as if you were some type of alien if you had any type of deformities. They weren't educated on, being autistic or, having Down syndrome or different, things that we see on a day-to-day basis. So they said that her family was ashamed of her, and she grew up in the church. Like, the church basically, helped her out. And the church also was in charge over the graveyards and keeping up with the graves. So they said she was always out there, and she was really good at it, and she was insanely strong to the point where she had like superhuman strength, like literally could just do all this stuff that would take several men hours and hours and even sometimes days to do. She could do in like 30 minutes all by herself. And it was said that the children in the area would often pick on her and taunt her and make these different songs where they made the Miss Mary Mack, 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 all dressed in black, 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 the song that we used to sing. And allegedly after the third time they sung that song, that's when Mary would come out and tear them up one by one. Now, some even say that this song comes from a U.S. warship called the USS Mary Mack or something like that. And it was said that the ship was actually black and covered with silver buttons, which is what the song states about the silver buttons on the back. But that still was a ship that was used to fight in the Civil War. So either or, if it was based off Mary the Gravekeeper or this U.S. warship, why is this a children's song? And another thing is, when did we learn this? Because I remember just, doing Ring Around the Rosie and Miss Mary Mack, but who taught us that? I don't ever remember like my parents or my family members like singing that to us. So how did we know about this song? But yeah, a lot of these stories have a lot of twisted lore and just weird things. And I'm like, who made this into a kid nursery rhyme? But let me know what y'all think in the comments. And I'm also going to tag another creator that goes way in depth about the legend of Miss Mary Mack, the Gravekeeper. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
That's just some important questions, man. Where do we pick those songs up at, man? At school? When we hear it around us?
Top 3 creepy last words people said right before dying. A nurse said that one night she was floated to oncology at the hospital she used to work at. She was given a patient who was passing away and had been unconscious for several days. At one point during the night, the nurse went into the room and the patient was on top of the bed. She looked at the nurse and said, "Don't let them take me." The nurse was freaked out and she asked her who was going to take her, and the patient said, "That black thing up there," and pointed up in the air. The patient died within minutes. A guy was rushed into a level 1 trauma facility from a motorcycle versus truck collision. The guy's able to talk at the beginning. He was drunk and cussing out the doctors and nurses trying to help him. They end up intubating him to preserve the airway, and he's going downhill fast. He codes, but they manage to bring him back. Suddenly, the guy comes completely to, rips out his tube, grabs one of the med students' hands, and lets out a breathy-like scream. "Don't let me die. I'm going to hell. Please don't let me die," he said. This freaks out everyone. The guy said he woke up in hell on fire and keeps begging someone to check his feet for burns. Nobody could believe that he pulled out his tube and was talking. Despite everything they did, the guy still died. The doctors and nurses were freaked out about it for weeks. Emma said that when she worked in a nursing home, they had a resident that was unpleasant, to say the least. One day, Emma was on bell duty. It was her responsibility to answer all the bells for 2 hours. And the man rang his bell and told her that there was a black dog under his bed. Emma looked under the bed, but there was nothing there. She thought that he could have possibly seen a dog because it was a hot day and the front door to the home was open. She told him that the dog must have gone out the door before she arrived. He rang the bell again a short time later, insisting that he could see a dog under the bed. Again, Emma couldn't see anything. This carried on. He became quite hysterical on one occasion, shouting that the black dog under his bed was trying to bite him and that it had red eyes. He looked terrified, and Emma couldn't calm him down for ages until the dog disappeared. She handed over what happened to the nurse in charge and went home as it was the end of her shift. The next day, she was on afternoon shift, and she found out that the man had died not long after she had gone home. It really freaked her out. Emma said that he was a very unpleasant man, and she often wondered if the dog was there to take him away to you-know-where.
The dog had red eyes. I don't know what the heck you were saying there, man. Terrifying. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video, comment down below. Don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you'll always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are gonna catch me in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.